Long ago, in a forgotten region where the largest forest in the world draws its strength from the red waters of a lake, an Indian sorcerer imprisoned the violet cloak of dawn, pierced with a golden ray of sun, into a crystal. Then he hid the precious gem in the depths of the earth. The prophecy says that only the love of a young Indian woman could help find this fascinating colored crystal, named Ametrine. The place of its discovery bears her name forever, Anaï. We should think about models for Christmas this year, and there's something interesting I've seen. It's like the atomium in Brussels, you know, that's that big building with the balls and the bars between the different balls. It might be an interesting idea for a ring. Laurence Baumer, Place Vendôme jeweler in Paris, is constantly in search of precious stones, in rare and unusual colors, to enrich his new creations. We could perhaps look at stones that would be interesting, which are different, somewhat rare, perhaps with two colors in them. The infinity of colors of precious stones allows him to find fashionable colors for his new collection. What would go really well with this would be to find an Ametrine from Bolivia. Over 8 million people inhabit Bolivia, which is the highest republic in Latin America. Peaking at over 6,500 meters from the mountains of the Andes down to the vast Amazon forests. It housed many civilizations like the Tiahuanaco on the shores of Lake Titicaca and the descendants of the sun god, the Incas. In the first part of the 16th century, Spaniards took possession of the land and wealth of the Indians. With the discovery of silver mines in Potosi, Spain supported the extravagance of their monarchy for nearly 2 centuries. The church preached and tried to convert all the natives while plundering their wealth. Metals and precious stones arrived in large quantities to be transformed into jewels and objects of worship, while the Indian and African slaves died by the thousands down in the mines. These poor men, struck down by the altitude and hard labor, clung to the only god that remained in the bowels of the earth, Lucifer. Today, during the Carnival of Oruro, the Bolivians dance for the demons of the Diabladas.
¿Sabes algo de la bolivianidad?
Do you know Ametrine? Yes. You're asking me, gringo? I know what you're looking for. Look at what I'm going to show you. It's Ametrine, this marvel. For this, people die. People kill themselves. I know where it can be found. It is found at the border of Brazil and Bolivia. For that, you have to go from Oruro, which is here, to Santa Cruz. Penetrate into the Amazon to Puerto Suarez. From there, you cross by boat. And there, 10 years ago, under the military government, this stone was mined illegally. I know all that very well. That's why I'm telling you about it. When you're going to get there, you'll be in love. And for sure, it'll please you. I'm sure of it. At At present, we find ametrine in only one mine in the world, in Bolivia. It is for this reason that the people of this country proudly call it Bolivianita. In the 17th century, a Spanish conquistador is said to have presented some samples of ametrine to his monarch. Received as a dowry when he married a princess of the native tribe of Ayoreros, named Anaï. The Anaï mine is located in an area flooded by the Paraguay River, infested with crocodiles and piranhas. Called Chaco, it occupies eastern Bolivia, 30 kilometers from Brazil, in the province of Santa Cruz. It is characterized by lush tropical vegetation and dotted with small mountains and swamps. Getting to the mine is very difficult. What is your name? My name is Alejandro Choyas. You're the boss? Yes, I'm the owner of the boat. How does one get to the Anaï mine from Puerto Suarez? From Puerto Quija, our starting point, it takes 18 hours to arrive at the Anaï mine, sailing day and night. The mine is in the midst of a knoll in the hills. There in the hills, there is the mineral, where ore is extracted and semi-precious stones. Formerly there was no traffic of stones? Yes, in the 70s there was a lot of traffic of stones. People came from Paraguay, Brazil, Bolivia. The Brazilians came on foot. They crossed the hills to go there. Nobody watched the mines, so they could take whatever they wanted. Sure, they couldn't get much, because they were on foot. They carried it on their backs, 50 to 60 kilos, no more, because they had to carry it on their backs for 4 to 5 days of walking.
No podía cargar más, no, porque tenía que andar 4 días, 5 días a pie.
50 kilos of gems? Yes, on their backs. They went on foot from the mine to the Paraguay River, and from there they came down the river by boat to Corumba. It was in the 70s. There were a lot of dead. People are fighting each other to steal the stones. Now the mine has an owner. It's a private company with workers who work there, everything. Everything became legal.
Ahorita ya tiene dueño las minas, ya tiene dueño, ya es una empresa privada, ¿no? Donde ya todo ya sale con, tiene gente trabajando allá, ya sale todo con nota, con todo, ¿no? Ya viene legal, ya no es como antes.
Ametrine stones, exploited illegally for years by the army and by adventurers, were sent to the Brazilian market to be cut and sold. It was long thought that this wonderful yellow and purple gem had needed help from man to give birth to these two colors. The suspicion arose from the fact that Brazilian sellers were unable to give the source of the ametrine. Today we know that ametrine is a natural stone that has not undergone any treatment, and it comes from Bolivia.
Ok, graças meu Deus.
I would love to, one day, find a gem to sell, to support my family. After one day and one night of sailing, the boat approaches its goal, the Mandior Lake. It is only accessible during the rainy season. The rest of the time, the water level goes down so suddenly that the final destination cannot be reached by boat. Patrick, we're in the Mandiore Lagoon. We will reach the shores of the Anaï mine. Then we will need to take a truck to go to the mine. I hope that at port there will be stones to be transported to Puerto Suarez. Why is the transport done by ship and not by truck? In the truck, no. There's no roads, there are only trails. Trucks cannot pass. They break down. There's no tradition of land transport. Everything is done by water normally.
todo se lleva por agua nomás.
¿Quién vive por acá?
Who lives here?
Acá no vive nadie, ¿no? Por acá lo que
There's
hay
nobody
es
here. Here there are only
lagartos,
crocodiles,
pescados,
various fish, and a lot of mosquitoes. That's what it is. A lot of mosquitoes in the Pantanal, on Mandiora Lake.
En este lago de Mandioré.
Having arrived at the lagoon, there remains a half-day hunt in the jungle to reach the mine. Today, only persons authorized by the owner can reach it.
Hola, Patrick, ¿cómo estás?
Hello, Patrick, how are you? Welcome to the mine.
Yo soy el gerente de la empresa.
I'm the director of the mine. We'll go to Anaï, where it's located. Welcome.
Ok, gracias.
Muy bien, bienvenido.
Okay.
30 kilometers of tracks have been dug in a dense rainforest. It must be cleared continuously under extremely difficult conditions. The humid climate favorizes the yellow fever outbreaks and the proliferation of mosquitoes that carry malaria. This track is a necessary link for the transport of precious stones from trucks to the river. It is the only path in this remote region of the world. Forward, forward. At this time of year, it's very difficult to access the mine because it rains a lot and everything's filled with mud. The ruts are deep, tractor tracks, and with a van it's very hard to move. But we'll get there. The organized activity of the mine actually started in the 90s. Long before, the natives came here to fetch water. It was they who first discovered the stone, unearthed by the roots of trees or in natural caves that these nomadic Indians occupied to protect themselves from animals. Then they exchanged them with a few adventurers against food. Today, the period of illegal exploitation is over. Mining is well organized by professionals. The surface layers depleted, wells and tunnels were dug into the rock along the veins. The miners descended several hundred feet underground into the galleries, supported, to find the precious gem. Each meter of descent is accompanied by an increase in heat, in what is called the geothermal gradient. Thus, in the deepest parts of the mine, the temperature is unbearable. Mining is a tradition in Bolivia. For centuries, men have experienced this hard work. They have developed a technique and great knowledge in the exploitation of the subsoil. Here it's good. We have good material, good ametrine. I think we'll find the best yet if we go deeper. It will take a lot of perforation to take all of this out, because behind it there is even more. The crystals of Ametrine, or Bolivianita, are coated with a red clay which comes from the decomposition of the rock where they were formed. It is fairly easy to remove with a crowbar. Look, this is very good rock. Look, what do you think? Yes, it's very good. Really nice, no? Yeah. It's the Ametrine. Best kind, right? Yes, the best quality. We must continue. This is a good vein, Don Miguel. Yes, it is beautiful. Look. You could give it to your wife, Don Miguel. It's a beautiful stone. Yes, but it needs to be cleaned. You could buy it. It takes a lot of work to be able to buy it. We must work hard to make enough, don't you think? It's also good. It's beautiful. It comes from the same place. Ah, yes, good. Has two tones, look. This is one of the best ametrines we've ever seen, Don Miguel. We need to continue. Gems detached from the walls are collected by the miners and stored in bags. Each of them weighs about 40 pounds and is to be added to the ore already extracted from the mine. The Ametrine formed millions of years ago. From the depths of the earth, liquids migrated to the surface, cutting a path through the porous rocks. During their ascent, they became concentrated in silica. On the surface, cold water runoff entered the ground and was concentrated in manganese and iron. The ascending hot liquids were blocked by impermeable barriers. The hydrostatic pressure grows to the point where this obstacle explodes, suddenly releasing the hot liquids, rich in silica. Brought into contact with the cold water runoff, the concentration of silica precipitated the ametrine. Iron gave the yellow, and manganese the purple color. The coca is a little boost for us in our work. We work. We dig here in the mine. It's a habit that we have from our elders. It's a mining tradition. They've always taken coca. They were already using coca. It gives courage, energy, prevents us from being hungry.
Da más ánimo, más energía, también te mata la, o sea, no te da esas ganas de estar bostezando.
We can't open our mouths, so.
De hambre, ¿no? No está abriendo la boca.
That's what coca is. It's a pick-me-up when we're exhausted.
Entonces nos sostiene algo de
we put it in our mouths.
Con el jugo que tenemos en la boca.
What is the importance of the devil for miners? The mine, we've always taken it as we call it a god. We're proud to work in the mine, more than if we were in town. And that's why there's a belief. The elders also said that there are devils that arise in the galleries. For this reason, it's just there, folklore. All of our devotion, we give it to the mine. It gives us everything, and it takes everything back.
Con eso se ha quedado. Por eso todos respetamos cuando entramos ya a la mina.
Before work, the miners make offerings to the devil from whom they expect protection. He is considered here as the master of the underground. Their work environment is so like hell that they believe the stones, torn from the bowels of the earth, belong to him. To allay this character that they call Tio, the uncle, they offer him coca leaves, alcohol, and cigarettes. This ritual allows them to endure their difficult lives and often ends in drunkenness. Once the comforting break is over, the miners collect the bags filled with ametrine and leave the mine. The bags are loaded onto a vehicle and taken under the custody of a team of men to a protected area, where they will be monitored and weighed. Sterile ore from the mine, that is to say not containing precious stones, is discharged outside in the dumps. The storage area, surrounded by barbed wire, is monitored day and night by security guards. Each bag is weighed and marked by the site manager.
I
am the technical director of the company, the mine. My mission is to plan all the tasks, both inside and outside the mine. The administrative part, the technical part, and the logistics. We arrived here a bit as adventurers, but we knew that the mine had been discovered long ago. Probably by the Ayoreros who had settled here. Up until the last 30 years, they lived in the mountains, gathering food and traveling throughout the region. At first, they protested us because the company's runway falls in the middle of Aboriginal territory, and they asked us not to use this runway. But they needed food and clothing, and especially food. So we gave that to them. So finally we reached an agreement with them. We supported them so that they could settle as farmers, become landowners, and establish themselves as breeders, etc. This is the path chosen by the company, and we've had very good relations with them. We have about 100 workers. Half of them work in the mine and the other half on the surface. Our organization is to pay by the task. We pay the workers when they deliver the stones. They are paid per kilo of Bolivianita. We receive them, we weigh, we check the quality, and we pay. On top of that, there's also the work in the pits. For every meter of gallery dug, workers receive money. So the worker, in his experience, his expertise, receives wages according to the work he has done.
Percibe un salario de acuerdo a su esfuerzo más que todo, ¿no?
Explosions are usually held 2 times a day in the most organized fashion. Indeed, when men enter the tunnel, they deposit a plaque at the entrance on which is inscribed their name. They take it back when they leave the mine. This prevents accidents, as we know exactly who is in the tunnel. Here, everyone respects the experience of Don Miguel. That's why after the explosion, he's the one to go into the mine to explore.
La Bolivianita
Bolivianita, or Ametrine, as it is called, is a mixture of two minerals, citrine, which is yellow, and amethyst, which is lilac.
Y la amatista, que es el color lila. Entonces, desde hace muchos años...
Ametrine was known for a long time, but it was not very well defined.
La bolivianita, pero no
We have several kinds of ametrine, more or less colorful. They have such beautiful colors. They're beautiful.
hay color, less color.
They're inferior qualities, but they're all still valuable.
Son hermosas bolivianitas. Y tenemos también otras calidades un poco inferiores, pero también muy valiosas. Bueno, este es un pico que nosotros llamamos pico.
This is a block that we call a collection block. It has very well preserved edges, and the point, too. The ratio between the length and the diameter is good. So it is a Class A stone.
Este diámetro, entonces lo llamamos clase E, es muy valiosa porque sirve para...
It has great value, and it's intended for an industry that will make animals, statues. It has a great market value. It's a piece that we will carefully preserve.
En el mercado. Y nosotros tenemos que cuidar mucho de eso. Tenemos un cuerpo de seguridad que revisa todo.
We have a security service that controls all the people who come and go to prevent them from taking stones.
Lleven estas piedras.
It is a product that belongs to the company, and we must be very vigilant. These stones are valuable, and we cannot let people get out, live and work without supervision. It is a necessity. This is a gold mine, and we're very careful because the product has great value.
Viva sin control, trabaje sin control. Es necesario, como en una mina de oro, se cuida también el producto porque es de mucho valor. Todo esto es muy difícil encontrar así.
It's very difficult to find a group like this. Mined in this state, very rare. These are pieces of high value that we take special care for.
Esta pieza es demasiado valiosa, la conservamos mucho.
And maybe one day we will find another of this size.
Una cosa muy grande como esa. ¿Sí? ¿Quién es?
Yes, who's there? I just kept back from the mine. Come in, Miguel. How are you, Miguel? Wow, something. Great news. We opened a vein and we discovered a great treasure. How is it, more or less? It's like there are huge crystals, a whole cave.
Piedra, pero hay que tocarla.
No puedo creer que es una cosa hermosa. Aquí hemos descubierto una cosa linda. Dinero, está hermoso aquí. Y esto todavía va más allá. Está entrando también. Mira, esta es una de las bolivianitas.
This natural cave, about 20 feet long, is fully lined with ametrine crystals. It is a rare sight to see such perfect mineralization. You know, Patrick, according to my calculations, we have here a huge volume that will allow us to produce for at least 20 years. All these crystals, it's huge, and the quality looks good too.
Y la calidad de las buenas. ¿Te gusta, Patrick? Sí. Miguel ha descubierto esto hace un rato. Sí. Es la perforación que hicimos. Que hay buena cantidad de producción. Ya tenemos que ya para trabajar. Pasar ya 200 años. Pero feliz. Compañeros, buenos días.
Only men live in this camp. They are self-sufficient and cut off for a 35-day period. These periods are followed by 2 weeks of rest, during which they can return to their families, to their wives and children. They do not complain. The work and living conditions are tough, but the mine produces a lot, about 10 tons of good quality ametrine per month. And for this reason, the boss pays well.
Aquí está el pócar. Se va la... Ahí está. La Leli Lolu. La escalera. ¿Cuál posamos? Bueno. Ay, por ella.
Eso ya.
47, 47, 47, do you read me? Over and out. Okay. Receiving well, receiving 100%. Well, it was to tell you, to communicate. Ramiro, very good news, good news. We found some very good ore in the mine. A large room with lots of minerals. Do you copy?
A ver cómo me has copiado, cambio.
Well, I must come at once to arrange the flight to collect the samples. When can you send me the plane? Over to you. We'll meet you on the runway. The van will be waiting for you there. Over and out. Don Miguel is responsible for bringing the crystal samples from the recent discovery by plane to Santa Cruz. These are the ones that Ramiro Rivero, the owner, called in urgently. This is the place where the Anaï mine over's plane crashed, where we now exploit the gemstones. 10 years ago, after falling more than 100 meters, Ramiro's plane crashed in the jungle. By chance, he survived several days in this hostile world while waiting for rescue. This experience changed his life, and that is why he rarely comes to the mine anymore. Santa Cruz is the largest economic center in the country. Today, it is the second largest city in Bolivia, with 1 million inhabitants. Ramiro built his factory there. In 1990, when I founded the Minerals and Metals of the East, I made a first trip to Tucson, Arizona, which is the center for marketing of gems. I brought Ametrine samples to display on the market, expecting and hoping to be strongly welcomed with open arms. since I was presenting a new stone that nobody knew about.
Puesto que estábamos presentando una gema nueva, una gema que no se conocía en el mercado.
And to my surprise, it's exactly the opposite that happened. They saw it as a synthetic stone that we had manufactured in Bolivia or elsewhere, and that we were trying to pass off as natural.
Y que estábamos tratando de mostrar al mercado como una gema natural. Trajimos un total de...
So we brought in 5 high-level geologists, and a demonstration was made that the stone was completely natural. All 5 have written articles in newspapers that were published in the United States. This began to open up the market and publicize the existence of this stone, and to know that there was a new gem on the market.
Después de que se había mostrado de que había esta piedra y había la posibilidad de una nueva gema, del ingreso de una nueva gema en el mercado. Creemos que quizás seamos la primera firma a nivel internacional que se convierta de...
I think we're the first company on an international level to have converted their activity from the mine to jewelry.
Mediante un sistema internacional de franquicias.
We want to enter the international market by setting up a system of franchises around the world, with our jewelry presented in this form you see here.
Con diseñadores bolivianos.
We've created a database with all of our jewelry designs developed by designers in Bolivia. They're different from traditional jewelry. Even to me, they're sometimes surprising. But they're innovative, different, and they will allow us to use our products as well as possible.
Minerales o cristales que son extraídos de la mina.
The ore and crystals that are extracted from the mine are transported to Santa Cruz, to our processing plant. Part of the production is transported from the mine to the Mandeore Lagoon to Puerto Suarez. Then, from Puerto Suarez, it is sent by train to Santa Cruz.
Ferrocarril, por tren, hasta la ciudad de Santa Cruz.
After a long train journey, the Ametrine-filled bags finally arrive at the factory, to be stored in a warehouse under the supervision of security guards, trained by Ramiro. This transport is done twice a month. The first step is to clean the gems still stained by the red clay that was its setting in the mine. To do this, we use hot water at very high pressure. Then, the stones are put into bags, which must weigh 35 kilos each. These are the blocks found in the mine. They look like simple amethysts, but when you break the crystals, inside, you'll find the yellow citrine. So in fact, it's Ametrine, or Bolivianita.
Y en realidad es todo ametrino, o bolivianita.
The workers, using a small hammer, will break up the crystals to their hearts to obtain the most pure material and the most beautiful color. The gloves protect their hands from the tools, but especially from cuts, from the sharp edges of the ametrine. Each piece is sorted based on its qualities. Ametrine is a rare jewel. A number of attempts have been made to fabricate it artificially, but in vain, including a method commonly used in Brazil to transform pure amethyst, fairly widespread, into citrine yellow, a more rare stone. These are the two components of ametrine. This transformation is obtained after 15 hours by heating the amethyst at 420 degrees in an oven. The transition from purple to yellow is spectacular. Unfortunately for these alchemists, the method does not produce ametrine. It is impossible to heat only one portion of the amethyst for the two-tone effect. Today, the hammering technique has gradually given way to sawing the stone, which allows you to lose a lot less material. This method avoids most fractures due to impacts. Indeed, these fractures make the rock particularly unusable for cutting. The pure and two-tone part of the stone is cut with a diamond saw. Indeed, ametrine is a silicon oxide from the quartz family, with a hardness of 7. On the same scale, diamond has a hardness of 10, so it can be cut easily. The best pieces are sorted by size and color. They are grouped in batches. The sawn parts become opaque as they dry, so they're sprayed with water, thanks to which one can better appreciate the different shades and classify them. Then, the lapidary will create facets on the rock by wearing them with a grinding wheel. These surfaces will allow light to penetrate the stone and reflect it like a mirror. Finally, the facets are polished to give them the appearance of a mirror. An ametrine weighing 37.5 kilos will produce 1,663 carats of faceted stones, or 352.6 grams. The carat is a unit of measurement for gemstones equal to 0.2 grams. After the various stages of beautification of the gem, just under 1% of the original material will remain. Ramiro created a department in his factory to design jewelry. It allows to reflect on new concepts specific to the ametrine. Various people study the possibilities of emphasizing these two colors of this particular stone. They are working on new types of cuts that allow the colors to mix and no longer have a clear separation at the center of a stone, but more of a pastel color that is a mixture of the yellow citrine and the purple of the amethyst. They create new original jewelry for this stone. Some of these creations are for the local market and will be made in the workshops of the factory. In Bolivia, for more than 20 years, jewelers in the major cities have sold Ametrine. Bolivians particularly like this stone. It's practically a collector's item that looks like nothing else. And as you can see, it's fairly light, modern. You can wear it for formal occasions or for informal occasions. Do you like it? Yes, it's very beautiful. There's a matching bracelet to the necklace, with the same design and a stone of the same size with these two colors of the Ametrine. Would you like to try it? Yes. It's unique, isn't it? Yes, of course it's unique. It's really something different, a pattern that specifically reflects Bolivian national culture. It's really typical. Yes, it's really beautiful. How much is it? This stone, this necklace, is worth $1,500. Bolivia is not a large enough market to absorb the production of Ametrine. The real potential for this stone is on the international markets. For this reason, Ramiro went to Tucson, Arizona, which is the largest global market for gems. Buyers and sellers from all horizons come together in this city for 3 weeks each year at the largest sale of gemstones in the world. In this place, which contains the largest treasure ever imagined, borders and conflicts disappear for the length of the negotiations as tough business is conducted between Indians, Brazilians, Chinese, Australians, French, Americans, and many others who coexist in a great mix of traditions. Laurence Baumer, jeweler in Paris, a great lover of these rare gems, comes to shop in this place where the choice is endless.
What is it?
It's Ametrine.
This is very pretty. What is it? It's Ametrine from Bolivia. How much is it worth?
$10 a carat.
We sell them at $10 a carat, and if you take more, I can give you a good price. It varies between $8 and $10, but it can climb to $15 per carat for top quality.
Can give in a lot. It varies from $8 or $10, but in the selecting price, it can go up to $15 a carat for the best quality, the top quality that we sell.
Okay, great. I'll think about it. Ramiro, who does not personally show in Tucson, comes to meet intermediaries because here, in just a few days, the sale of Ametrine can be negotiated with many countries.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Hello, how are you? Very good.
These look nice.
They
Can I
look
have a
pretty.
at
Can
them?
I see them?
There you go.
Here.
Wow, this is a very beautiful.
Oh, it's a beautiful stone.
This is called Ametrine.
It's Ametrine. It's from Bolivia.
And how much is a stone like this?
And how much is a stone like this?
20-carat stone, and we sell it for.
This is a stone of about 20 carats, and the price is $10 a carat, so it is $200.
I'll go for that one.
I think I'll take it.
Sure, sure.
Okay. The soul of Princess Anaï is present in each of the stones extracted from the lost mine at the end of the earth. The miners tell that some nights in the jungle, one can hear the sobs of the conquistador, clasping the dying beauty in his arms. Her people preferred to sacrifice her rather than to see her go forever. In her last breath of life, the princess laid into the hand of her beloved a two-toned and perfect gem, representing her eternal love.